Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Unbound. I'm Nicola Humber, author of Unbound and founder of the Unbound Press. And today I'm delighted to be joined by author of findLiz, Elizabeth Goddard. Welcome, Liz. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
And we were just having a conversation before we came on about like the challenge of like, what do we call ourselves? I think that's the great thing about when you write a book, you can just call yourself author of, rather than having to think about what is it that I do in the world. It's something solid that we can.
It all changes as well, don't you know? I especially for women, you know, we can have so many different careers, so many different, hats. You know, whether you're a mother or a wife or you know, there's so many different variants. So I think it's ever evolving, ever changing.
Absolutely. And it is definitely a challenge, you know, for a lot of the women in my community. You know, we're unbound women, we're multifaceted, we have all of these different things that we're doing in our lives. And like you said, it's an evolving process. So to find like a few words that describe what we do is...
And isn't that being bound up as well? Being bound into something.
And I always look, like this is not what I thought we'd end up talking about. But I always look at what people, very often I like look at what people call themselves, and I just think, oh, it doesn't really fully express like who you are or what you like, the magical being that you are. So,
like the label.
Exactly. So Liz, great to have you here with me today. And I do generally start these conversations with the same question, because obviously, as we've just been talking about, the theme of this show and all of my work is being unbound, so being your fullest, freest self. But I'm curious to know if there's been a time in your life or a situation where you felt particularly bound and how you moved beyond that.
Oh my God, which one do I pick?
Exactly, there's always more than a lot more than one.
Which one do I pick? I think I think I just feel bound by life. You know, and that's if I take it as a generically, my whole life, I think I felt bound. So I never felt I fitted in. I never felt I found that what I was supposed to be doing, so maybe, and I can take individual things, but I think from really early childhood, I can say I felt bound into the family that I grew up with, that I still don't think understands me and who I am and how I work through things, and that fitting in, particularly the spiritual side, because I was brought up in a Catholic household, and it doesn't, thinking outside of the box isn't really a good quality in.
It's not encouraged.
Not encouraged. Speaking isn't encouraged. Thinking isn't encouraged. So, and I think a lot of the my learning, because I went back to college, and I started to when I was a lot later, like my kids were, my youngest, I think she must have been about 5 or 6, something like that, 7, and so it's as if I went and did my studying later, and like the whole school thing just was not for me. I did not get it. But the whole spiritual schooling, I just couldn't get enough of it. Was the bit that I was missing, I think. So if I could have gone to spiritual school at the instead of a state school, I've been
I think that's why so many people, or certainly a lot of the women, a lot of the mothers that I know right now, are choosing to homeschool because our schooling system does feel so limiting.
I am watching. I'm watching a young couple on YouTube that are traveling the world on a catamaran, and they've got a baby with them now. So she's given birth and had a baby, and they've got a baby on board. And I know it's snippets of a week. I know it's not everything that happens, but that baby is so connected to both parents, not just one, both parents. And it may, and there's another one. I found them via another one, and they've taken their kids out homeschooling, and I saw a clip of another a program or whatever that's coming up this week, and it's interviewing other parents that are homeschooling their kids and traveling around the world. And one of them said, the kids are growing up too quickly, and I really not in a, I don't think it was a power crazed, I need to control my family sort of thing, but they're exposed to so much, and there's so much bullying and negativity and all of this going on. And I'm just thinking, wow, homeschooling, yeah, I don't think it would have worked for me, but yeah, I think it's a really positive thing. I wish I could have done it for my kids. Yeah.
And I love how you answered that first question, Liz, by acknowledging that the whole of life feels bad. We kind of choose to come here, don't we, to have this human experience. And
it is, and it's I do something called soul plan reading. It was part of when I did my I did a spiritual life coaching course about 10 years ago, something like that, and it was one of the modules, and you can take it as a standalone module. It was part of the thing. It was actually the one thing, it was weird, but it was the one thing that made me do that course, because I was really intrigued by it. Now, that is about our names and the energies that we bring in. And one of the really strong energies that's playing out for me at the moment is an 8-8, and that's all the grounding and not wanting to be here. And I did some work, it must have been 2 years ago, and that was all over, that was around my birth as well, and getting stuck, and I really actually believe that I really did not want to, it was something that was sort of not forced upon me, but in a way I do feel that maybe it was forced upon me. Right, you're getting down there now, and this is what you've got to learn.
Oh my goodness, that's so interesting. I think our birth experience is so important, and when I think about the way I came into the world, I was late coming in, and my mum was induced, and I was pulled out with forceps. I really didn't want to come into that.
I think I was like 13 days, or it might have been a week late, I can't know, I think it was
about a week late,
13 days, and pulled out with forceps. And that's one of the things we were doing as part of this healing. It was, and they were saying, I go back to the earliest memory, and it was, all I've got is this pain around my head. All I've got is this, and that was all I could think of, that I don't want to be here, and I was being dragged out. So yeah.
So interesting, isn't it? Yeah. And I know when I've spoken about this before, that other women have come forward and been thinking about their birth experience and how it was for them and the impact it has on us. Of course, that's huge, but we're not kind of taught anything about that, are we?
Also, I think it's a good reference, because maybe this is why some people struggle, and I definitely struggle with grounding. Yeah. And definitely struggle with being grounded. I'm either way too grounded, or I'm just not here at all. Yeah. So I think that sort of learning, and part of that experience, which I'm sort of trying to embody at the moment, and that's through the book Finding Lily. And I got sort of confirmation the other day via the guy that I trained with, and I was thinking, yeah, that is it. That's exactly what it is, and it's sharing the emotion stuff, the stuff that people don't want to talk about, and but I think understanding that helps you understand where it is you didn't fit in. Yeah.
it makes sense, doesn't it, when you
Yeah,
reflect
yeah,
back on that?
yeah. And I think sometimes when we've got the knowledge behind it, it makes it easier to understand and then maybe adjust stuff, or, yeah.
Yeah, support ourselves.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
rather than judging
yeah,
ourselves for like,
yeah,
oh, why do I always feel like this? It's like, well, no wonder.
yeah, yeah. Oh, totally, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So you mentioned finding Lily there, Liz. So tell us some more about that book, and what made you decide to write Finding Lily?
okay. Well, I don't think I had that decision was made for me. It
Yeah,
wasn't my decision.
yeah.
Um, I went away. I was going through I was in denial of what was going on in my life, and I was in complete denial, and I was going away for 5 weeks. And the first week I was away, it just came out. It just fell out of me. And as I was writing it, I'd already seen similarities. I'd already seen the crossovers of relationships, but it was just like somebody was going, look,
Mm-hmm.
Finding Lily is the story is over something like a 3-week period. Might be a little bit longer than that. And I've written it in fiction, but it's about something that actually happened. It's about a true story, but I've written it in fiction. And it's about the emotion and pain that as an intuitive, I can see in other people that other people might not see. And it's about having the understanding of, it's 2 situations. So I have no idea. This woman is in this coffee house, and I'm picking up on her emotion as an intuitive. And it's making me sort of go back in time, and I remember the pain, and my pain was about this, and and that's how it was sort of bringing up triggers or emotions. And I don't know where that story came. I don't know why it came up. I don't know why I had to do it. I don't know why I wrote it in the way that it was written. I just don't know. It was as if it was like the final part. The story was 26 years old, and it was something that I thought I'd healed and I'd put away. I think initially when it happened, I closed the door on it and I shoved it in a box somewhere, and I didn't address it, and it was very painful. And then it was around about the time I was doing my life coaching. It was after I qualified, maybe it was a couple of years after. And I went on a weekend course, and the picture of Lily came out as a guide. And I looked at this girl. I'd already done some healing the day before around it, about drawing healing out through emotion and colouring and stuff, which is really, really powerful. And so that's the cover of the book. And then so I thought I'd done it. I thought in 2012, when I was dealing with this, I thought that bit's done.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. It was obviously more of a message, to come up. And I think sometimes when we're ready, or maybe like, oh, we've waited too long for you to get this yourself. We're gonna
Just gonna go.
Got no choice now. We can't. You're not getting it.
I'm just thinking about, we were just talking about the birth process, and you just speaking about how finding Lily just fell out of you.
That would mean, I couldn't do that myself. It literally, I just started writing, and I was like, whoa. And I did it in longhand as well, which I think is really powerful, really powerful.
Yeah.
So part of the story was healing that, and then it turned into a book, and it was like, whoa, and again it was like, do I publish it? It's quite a personal journey. Do you do something with it? And I was at a network. No, I wasn't. I was at a workshop, like a 2-day workshop, and the girl sitting next to me was like, well, I've got a publisher, but I really don't know how to start my book. And I was like, oh, I've got a book, but I don't know how to get it published. And that's how it happened. So and we went through, it was through Sean. So.
Yeah, through that guy's house. So Liz and I share a publisher. We've both published with That Guy's House, which
Yeah.
has been a wonderful experience.
It has, yeah.
Really has. So did you know that you were writing a book when it was coming through, or was it just like this is coming and I'm allowing it? Did you have a sense of that?
I think when I was doing it I know I had a conversation, but I don't know who the conversation is with, in that if I'm only doing this for I might only be doing this for myself, and that's fine. And then it was like, it might be just for one person picks this up. And I've had loads of people that have come back to me and said, you know, oh wow, I've experienced something similar, and you know, blah 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 blah. But I don't know who I was having this conversation with. I had one the other day, and I kept saying, and these thoughts, when it was over 5 days, but I don't want my car written off, and I don't know where it was coming from. And then my car got written off, and it was like, but who was I talking to? That's what I'm trying to.
Was it a dream?
No, it wasn't. I just kept thinking, but I really don't want my car written off, you know, and yeah. So I'm not quite sure who I was talking to when I was sorting out whether the book was to be published or not be published, but I definitely had a one-sided conversation anyway with, you know, so yeah, whether that was part of the download, I don't know.
I love hearing about different people's like book writing process and how they came to kind of writing the book and sharing it. And there's something really magical about
I think it's when you have to work hard at something. So I've got this other book which I was trying to write, and it just didn't feel right. It really didn't feel right, and it hasn't happened. And then out of nowhere, there's another one. So you know, but I think I got so like, no, I've got to write this book. I said I was going to write it. I've got to write it, and yeah, maybe it comes later. Maybe it's, you know.
Well, this is the thing, and I do feel like there's a specific order to, you know, a lot of us have got different ideas for books, and like you said, sometimes it can feel like, oh, this isn't really working with this one. I don't get it. Yeah. And then another idea comes through, and maybe through like writing and releasing that, it clears the way for this other one to come.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. It was a weird project that I was doing, because I didn't really know what to put on YouTube and fill up my YouTube channel with. I just thought, oh, okay. And then I started, oh, no, I've put it all on there. What do I do with it? So I then started using Instagram. And then I got a text message saying, God, I hope this is your second book. I never even thought about it. So,
yeah. There's kind of a theme here, isn't it? Like your books are coming through in a way that you don't even realise they're books, and they just come through with such ease.
Yeah. This was a little bit harder. So because there's a bit of fact in there, and I've got to make sure it's right. So in my head it is. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So people are saying other things, and I'm like, yeah, I don't think that's right. But you know, but I think everyone's just repeating, like in certain arenas, stuff gets repeated.
Yeah, exactly. So tell us about this new book that you're kind of magically working on without realising.
It's sort of finished.
Yeah.
It's called The A to Z of Emotional Abuse.
Mm-hmm.
So it was something that I fell down this rabbit hole that I then couldn't get out of. And I was so like, oh my God, you know, is this what's been going on? And all my relationships, they're not with the narcissists, the sociopaths and the psychopaths, but because we're all on that scale. And but I did a lot of healing around relationships and the stuff that came through at the time. And then I was thinking, oh, what can I, you know, do and this A to Z came up. So I started recording. I did some Facebook Lives on it. I think that's how it worked. So they then downloaded them in and cut them into YouTube videos, and then I started posting them on Instagram, and I got some artwork. Did some artwork, and so it's the A to Z of emotional abuse. It's all the words that you come across when you head down that rabbit hole. It's a whole new language. It's a whole new area of learning. So I came across a few people that didn't like me talking about it, and I just have had to say that's their crap, not mine. I think there's my personal belief, and it has been before I ended up down this rabbit hole, was that we have wounds that, you know, that we carry around with us, and they show up in various different ways when people come and either shine a light or mirror something. I'm a great believer in shadow side and healing of the shadow side. This is about healing the original wounds. So this is about the emotional abusive relationships, and it's sort of combining everything, sort of coming together from years and years of stuff. It's so I did some past life regression work. I trained years and years ago, and I learned a really, really deep healing modality with that, and but I've talked about, you know, how we live in a theta state and how we learn and we repeat the patterns. Only I was doing it on a business coaching type. You know, are you stuck in this hole of being a whatever it was? I met so many bankers and doctors and people like that only did it to him because somebody else wanted them to do the job, you know. And this is where my it had come from. But actually now I've got to this point, and it's like, oh my God, this just makes so much sense. These wounds that we carry around with us from childhood of being given to us through I don't know how many generations. You know, it's, you know, like the doctor, you know, I met a couple of those that have only went into it because they, you know, that's what they was either expected of them, or they were impressing someone.
Yeah. Well, you know, right at the beginning of our conversation, you were talking about kind of feeling that you didn't fit in, and I think that's so common, and we can end up doing all of these things in our lives to fit in, you know, whether that's the job, you know, the career that we follow, or the way we behave in relation to others. It's like this desire to fit in, and to be accepted and to be approved of. That can
and it is this rejection. It's the rejection of the tribe. So our tribe is our family. So if we don't want to be kicked out by our tribe, who are there to protect us, we fit in with what they say, and we you know, their rules and whatever, you know, their thinking. And in this time between birth and like 7 or 8 years old, we're in this theta state. We take on these unknown limitations, you know. So, you know, people are, you know, I don't know, don't stand out, you don't make a scene, you don't, you know, those sort of things, or people like us don't have money, people like us don't, you know, whatever it is, dot fill in the blank, you know, and that's where we get it from. That's, you know, it comes from our parents, and they got it from their parents, who got it from their parents, and this stuff is so outdated, you know. If you look back, you know, just a generation, 2 generations, you know, my parents were both born just before the war. So they've gone through that, and the rationing and you know, living hand to mouth. And so, and their parents will have gone through the First World War as well as the Second World War. So all of these things are going, you know, are saying, no, you don't do that. No, you don't do that. We don't do that, or whatever it is.
Yeah, we carry all of this stuff with us. And like you said, it's just, it doesn't apply to how we do it.
You look back, even 2 generations where they were 2 generations ago. It's so outdated. So, you know, when you look at the law of, you know, abundance, the manifestation and stuff like that, it's just so outdated.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So what's it been like for you, Liz, you know, as we come towards the end of the episode, this kind of journey that you've been on from like feeling that you don't fit in to actually coming to a place where, you know, you are expressing yourself in the way you want to. And of course, like, that's a process, it's a journey. But how has that been? You know, you've already spoken about how some people have like not necessarily approved of what you're sharing. How has it been?
It is because of that conditioning from 0 to 8. I mean, elements of that is still there, and it's like, oh my god, should I be doing this? Oh my god, you know, all those sort of things. That the inner critic comes out, and the questioning. What's it like? I think it's quite liberating. I'm stuck at the moment. I'm just waiting to take that next big leap, and I suppose that's part confidence as much as anything else. And I know I've got to do it, but it's a timing thing for me at the moment. But I think it's quite liberating. Actually, I had this text. Well, with the soul plan reading, I read something the other day, and that was from the guy that I trained with, and I was like, I sent him a text message, and I went, oh my god, I've been meaning to send this for like 10 days, and I said something, I was talking about this, and he said, yes, that's exactly what you're supposed to be doing. And I was like, oh, it's as if I now understand. It's taken me a long time to get here. It is liberating, but it's also, you know, that fear before you jump off something, you know, jump into deep water, or you jump off, I don't know, whatever it is that you're going to do, or firewalks. It's that stepping over that first, step on the coals. It's that, it is. I think finding Lily was the first step. So, and this one, but there's that, there's that fear. Do I know enough? Am I good enough?
Exactly.
And a part of that, I think, comes from being at school as well, not really understanding what was going on. As I said, if there was a spirit school that I could have gotten to, it would just been so much easier. I think I would have learned so much more.
Imagine.
I know.
Able to kind of soak all of that up at that early age. That would just be so powerful, wouldn't it?
Maybe there's something there. Maybe we should start a
spirit school. You heard it here first. Oh, Liz, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me today. Like, what a literally magical conversation we've had. Like I said, I didn't expect that we'd be talking about.
I didn't. No, it's brilliant. Thank you.
How can people find out more about you and what you do, Liz?
Okay. So my website is reviveyoursoul.co.uk. I'm on Facebook as Revive Your Soul, on Twitter as Revive You Are, and then Soul. Your was gone. And then I'm on Instagram as Revive Your Soul. I think it's those I suppose are the main ones. Info at Revive Your Soul. My telephone number's on there. Drop me an email. I've got a group as well for that's called Mind the Gap Tribe, and that's for women recovering from emotionally abusive relationships. It's a really small community, and I'm just sort of kicking it off at the moment. So that's something I'm just really passionate. I've just got so many projects that, in my head, so many creative projects in my head that I just think, if only I had that support, if only I knew whatever it was, if only. So it's the website is probably the easiest one to find me on.
Fantastic. And we'll put the link to your website below this video so that people can find you. And you know, we were chatting before we came on, and we'll definitely get you on for another conversation when the new book comes out. We're not sure exactly when it's going to be yet.
No, I think it's partly my fault. I've got to get the artwork over to them. So,
Okay.
I haven't quite got a date at the moment, but it's not long. It's written, it's not long. So I know, and actually when you said to me, I was thinking, actually it's the end of June now. I wonder whether I could get it for like the second anniversary or third anniversary of Finding Lily. Second. It was something like the 26th of August. So wondering whether, you know, that sort of works out.
Oh, exciting. Well, watch your space. We will keep you posted. And if we get Liz back on. Yeah, fantastic.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been chatting.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So thanks for joining us, and we will see you again soon for another episode of Unbound. Bye.
Thank you.